Hey, what's happening? Chris Martinez here. I am the host of Operation Agency Freedom. And today we're going to be talking about how you should be making decisions based on who on your team has the best probability for having the right answer. So I love this technique that I'm going to share with you. I learned it from one of my heroes, Ray Dalio, in his book Principles. And so I'm going to share that with you. So if you've got a team and you feel like they're not empowered or they're not coming up with the right answers, or if you find yourself making all the decisions in your company, you're definitely going to want to pay attention to this episode. It's a little bit shorter, so easy one to listen to when you're driving in, or maybe you're at the gym, or maybe you're just working. So anyways, let's head over to the episode. Okay. So, running an agency is hard and it's really difficult to be able to manage everything that goes on in the agency on any given day. So eventually you're going to need to build out a team. You're going to need to build out a leadership team. And what I found is that it's really hard for agency owners to let go and to let other people make decisions. There's a lot of reasons why. In one of our trainings that we do for leadership, we list out all the reasons why people can't let go. And it's different motivations for owners versus leadership team members. Anyways, bottom line is it's hard for people to let go and to let other people make decisions. So I was reading this book called Principles by Ray Dalio a few years back. And in one of the chapters, I can't even remember when because I read the book so many years ago. But in one of the chapters, he talks about his way for making decisions. And so if you have a team and you trust that team, then what you do is you look at the problem that you're facing, and assuming that there isn't a previously written down like SOP on how to solve that problem, you basically need to identify what the problem is. And then you approach your leadership team and you identify who has experience solving a problem like this in the past, or who has some experience solving a similar type of problem in the past. And so you look at the different people and you look at their different approaches to solving this problem. And you basically empower the person who has the highest probability of having the right answer. So let's just look at this like from a totally hypothetical, non-business related thing. So I do not have children. I've never raised children before. And so if you were to come to me and say, hey, Chris, what are your thoughts on parenting? I would say I am not qualified to answer that question, right? And just just as kind of a side note, anybody who does not have children that tries to give you advice, I would say think twice about that, especially when compared to somebody like, let's say that I have somebody that's sitting next to me. Let's just call them, I don't know, what should we call this fictitious person? Janice. So Janice has raised 5 children. All of them are highly successful, respectful, kind human beings. They all went to Ivy League schools, and now some of them are entrepreneurs. Some of them are, scientists, are engineers. Some of them are stay-at-home parents, whatever. But they're all successful. They're all kind. They're all great human beings. So if you were to come to me and ask me about parenting, I would say, you know what? I probably don't have the right answer, but I've got Janice here, and Janice probably has the answers that you're looking for, right? So that is an example of something that you can do in your agency. If you guys are faced with a problem or there's a question that somebody has and there's no documentation on how to solve this problem, look around the room and figure out who has the best probability of having the right answer. And a lot of the times that's not going to be you. And in fact, it should not be you. You, the owner, Mr. or Miss Owner, you should not be the one who has all the answers. Guess why? Somebody tell me why. Because if you're gone, guess what? Nobody can solve freaking problems. And ultimately what we want is we want to build a business that can run without us. If you want to sell a business, trust me, that business has got to be able to run without you. So it's one of the things that you've got to start developing in other people. And you have to start building out a leadership team that is going to have all the answers, that is going to have answers. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like, no, I always have all the answers, I promise you, you do not have all the answers. There are so many things that pop up in the business. I promise you. And even if we look at some of your past decisions that didn't go well, that you did, if we were completely objective and we were looking at your performance as an owner, I guarantee you, you made some very bad decisions. And most likely there was somebody else on the team who had the right answer. And we just didn't create an environment where we could ask that person for their opinion. And we didn't inquire enough. We weren't curious enough and asked them, what's your experience on this? You will be amazed at the experience that some of your other team members have and how they're actually more qualified to solve problems, some of the problems than you are, Mr. or Miss Owner. So this brings up the second to last point that I have. It's the importance of hiring for diversity. So when you are growing a business, as you already know, there's tons of problems. Ultimately, your role as the owner is like you put out fires, right? You're constantly solving problems or empowering your team to solve problems. They come up all the time, things that you didn't anticipate. These problems are going. So it's super important that you hire for diversity. And when I say diversity, some people lose their mind because they think of like affirmative action, and depending on what algorithm you're in and your political stance, that word diversity can be very triggering for you. What I'm talking about when I say diversity is diversity of thought and experience. If you have everybody on your team that's from the same school or the same family and they have the same education and they went to the same jobs and they have the same work experience, guess what? You do not have diversity. You did not have diversity of thought. You do not have diversity of experience. You need that to be able to solve all these unforeseen problems that are going to get thrown in your face. So that's why it's so important to hire for diversity, so that when we have these unique problems that pop up, you can go around the room and somebody will say, you know what, I solved a problem like that before. Or at this company that I worked at, this is how we approach this exact same thing, right? You want that. You need that if you're going to scale your business. Think of it almost like a mastermind, right? So hopefully you've been in a mastermind group before. If you were to join the mastermind and everybody in the mastermind was the exact same business, same revenue. Like imagine like you were in a mastermind and like everybody in the mastermind was like franchise owner of, I don't know, some burger franchise. They're essentially like, they're all the same, right? That is not as beneficial to you. If you've ever been in a great mastermind, like I have, I've been in some great masterminds before, there's so much diversity in the room. Diversity in terms of types of business and size of the business and number of employees. And obviously the industries are going to be different. The years in business are going to be different. That's where the gold is, because you have that diversity of thought and experience. That's where some of your best ideas, some of your best solutions are going to come from that. You want to build a leadership team that is diverse, kind of like how you need that diversity in a mastermind. So unbelievably important. That's going to help you to guarantee that you are solving problems the right way and that you're getting guidance on how to solve those problems from people that have more experience in that than you do. So important. Okay. So don't worry right now if you recognize that you don't necessarily have that diversity of thought and experience, or that you're not solving these problems the right way. This is my final point. Don't worry if you don't have that in place. And don't worry if you're looking at this, like, man, I made all these problems or made all these bad decisions. I'm the root of all the problems. Don't worry if that's you. What you need to do is start today and start deploying this technique. So if there's a problem that pops up and you're discussing it on your weekly leadership meetings, which hopefully you're having weekly leadership meetings, and one of these problems pops up, go around the room and say, does anybody have experience in solving a problem similar to this? Okay, what did you do? Right? Don't be the first one to start giving out orders. Don't say, this is how we're going to solve the problem. This is how we're going to attack that problem. This is what I want you to do. This is what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Your job as a leader is to empower other people to do the amazing shit that you hired them to do. And you as the leader need to stay the fuck out of their way. Let them do their jobs. Start empowering people. Start looking to people that have the best probability of having the right answer. I promise you, if you do this, not only will your business start to grow, you're going to have a lot more fun. It's going to be a lot more fun building this business together. It's going to be a lot more fun empowering people and seeing their personal and professional growth. And then this business is going to be worth a whole lot more down the line. And if you ever want to sell it, you're going to have a much higher chance of having that big exit and that big. Hope you enjoyed this episode. See you on the next one.
Hey, thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you would subscribe to the podcast and also share it with friends, family, and basically anyone you know who will find the same value in this episode as you do. So, to get the latest from me, then let's connect on social media on the Facebooks at facebook.com/Dude Agency or Instagram at dudeagency.io. Then you can also find us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and even TikTok. Yes, I'm that cool. We are on TikTok. Finally, go to our website at dudeagency.io, where you can see all of our other episodes of Operation Agency Freedom. Register for live trainings on how to run a highly profitable agency, and you can see exactly how we help marketing agencies fix their operations and scale to 8 figures and beyond. Thanks again for listening, and I will see you next time.